What's up guys and welcome to this APA draft recap. So this is your coach of the Sherbrooke Talonflames. My name is Fuetsky. So the logo is right behind me. So this little logo right here, this is my team. So we're gonna go through the draft and see what I did and why I picked every single one of these Pokemon one by one. And then we'll go into stats and try to compare with the other teams in the league what I have done right and what I maybe have done a little wrong. So we're gonna go and right into the first one, and this is gonna be my first overall pick, which is Mew. Okay, why Mew? Because it's the most versatile Pokemon in the game. 100 stats across the board. I really like psychic types. I'm not allowed to use the Immunium Z, which I thought was allowed when I drafted it, but still, it is my dedicated Z user with another one of these, the Pokemon I have drafted, so I'll talk about it a little later. But it's got access to pretty much every single type of move in the game. And yeah, I can actually make these transform these into Z moves to get a little more power. So I can run it Scarf, I can run it Choice, I can run it Life Orb, Leftovers, I can run it Rocky Helmet. There's any set works with Mew if you have a reason behind it. So it's the main reason why I'm actually comfortable with that. And yeah, Mew is gonna be my first pick in the first round. So this is already my S tier gun. It cost me an extra 80 points, I think. Next one, Volcanion. Why? Okay, because Volcanion, yes, it's slow. I know. It's base 70 something, 70 speed, 70 or 75. Okay, that's true, but Volcanion has two very important types to have in a team. It's got fire and water, and it's got an immunity to water. So I can actually sponge with water absorb. It's an extremely strong special and physical offensive Pokemon. I can actually run it mixed. I can run it scarfed with mixed sets. I can run it more defensive with something like Life Orb. I can. I think it has access to Will-O-Wisp, stuff like that. So I can actually use multiple sets. Let me actually just open a window so I can check that to make sure I don't say stuff that isn't true. So Volcanion. So yeah, it's got access to well, I said Will-O-Wisp. It's got access to Explosion, so I can actually run something like Focus Sash, Lead, stuff like that. It's got access to Weather Ball, so I can actually play with the weather. It's got access to multiple moves that are very interesting. It's got access to Roar to try to get some Pokemon that are setting up out, so that's very good. And it's got moves like Flare Blitz. It's got access to moves that are very dangerous, and yeah, that's pretty much it. It's got the most overpowered Scald in the game, so Steam Eruption base 110. It's basically like a mix between Hydro Pump and Scald. It's actually, well, it's a more accurate Hydro Pump with the chance of burning, so very good. And yeah, there's actually a lot of stuff you can do with that Pokemon, and I'm really looking forward to that. Next one is gonna be, I know it's a setup fodder, but Chansey, I cannot stop myself from drafting this Pokemon. With Mew, the only weakness it has been covered. So fighting types are likely not gonna do much to Mew. The only thing is that it's pretty much a knockoff bait, which isn't a good switch, a good thing to switch into Mew after that, because not only do I lose my item, I also lose more damage since it's super effective. Anyways, so Chansey can set up rocks, it can poison, it can paralyze. It's got access to multiple moves that are very useful in a team, and it's pretty much the best healer, wish healer in the game, because it's got so much HP. It can set up screens. What else can it do? It can do a lot of stuff that are very useful in a team, but it is by no means an offensive Pokemon. Healing Wish is also a good thing against slower teams. It can actually put you asleep with Sing, which isn't something I will bet on because it's not very accurate at like 55%. A counter set can surprise so many people. Something like max defense, max HP. A non-fighting type will go for something like a hammer arm or something like that. You use counter, that's done. It's over. Yeah, there's a lot of things that you can do, but it's not a Pokemon that I expect to have more kills than deaths, or that I expect to bring every single game. It's just that the other reason I drafted it is I don't want to deal with it. So next one is gonna be a Gliscor. So why Gliscor? It's so freaking powerful when you know how to use it right. It can be a agility baton passer. It can be a Swords Dance baton passer. There's so many things it can do. It can set up rocks. It can remove them with defog. It's I think it's a transfer move. Just let me confirm. Yeah, it's like a transfer move. Yeah, exactly. So you can actually teach it defog. I used it as my dedicated Z user, my second one, which I don't think will be very useful, but it's got access to Elemental Fangs, it's got access to Knockoff, it's got access to Poison Jab, it's got access to Earthquake, it's got access to, what else? Brick Break and Sky Uppercut, it's got access to Steel Wing, and Metal Claw, and Iron Tail actually, Aqua Tail. It's got access to so many types that if you can actually get a Swords Dance and you know that you're faster than your opponent, and then you use your dedicated Z move, it's very powerful. So Gliscor will not always be the poison heal set, because Hyper Cutter will really help it, because there's a lot of Intimidate Pokemon that are like very dominating in that format, such as Krookodile, such as Arcanine, etc. So Pokemon like that won't really like facing Gliscor, because it's got some very good options against them. So yeah, it's a Pokemon that I'm really comfortable with, and it's only got 2 weaknesses, including one major weakness, which I can actually transform into a weakness policy set, because HP Ice, with some good special defense investment on most Pokemon that are not max invested, it can actually survive. It can actually survive. I saw some Gliscor survive like HP Ice from stuff like I don't know, what was it? It was something like I have a blank, but I've seen it survive some very like crucial HP Ice set moves. I saw one survive HP Ice from a Manectric. Just tells you how much it can actually do well when you invest it correctly. So a Pokemon that I really like. It's not the fastest, but it's not the slowest. It's not the most brutal offensive force, but it's not the weakest one either. So like, it's got some good all-around stats. It's got 125 in defense. It can actually tank some ice punches from a lot of Pokemon that are not ice types. So, well, basically every ice type that has like average physical attack with stab, ice punch will kill. But I've seen some clutch survives from stuff like non-mega Metagross, stuff like that. So it can happen. So you need to be careful, because like, you can actually play around with Gliscor and really surprise your opponent. So I spent a lot of time on Gliscor, so next, let's go to the next Pokemon already. Dhelmise. Okay, I needed a grass type and I needed a ghost type. And I needed a spinner, like a real spinner, not a defog, to remove my own rocks. So yeah, that's it. Dhelmise, it's got some very good stats, which I think will really help my team. So let's go right into its page. So it's got 131 in attack, 100 in defense, and 90 in special defense. So it's got some very good defenses, an average HP at 70, but a very high physical attack. And if you can actually place some key moves, something like switcheroo, you can actually you can actually trick pretty much an item that your opponent doesn't want. It has access to rapid spin. It's got some very good coverage moves, such as like it's got access to the Heavy Slam. It's got access to Phantom Force Power Whip. It's got access to Brick Break, which is very good. Aerial Ace against some stuff like Buzzwole, which I think is taken by a rival I played twice. I would need to confirm. But it's a very good move to use against Pokemon like that. Earthquake. It's got access to Rock Slide, stuff like that. So I'm very comfortable with that. And if I really want to like go risky or like try to some weird sets, I can actually Baton Pass some special attack boost from Mew to Delmise. It's got access to very good special moves as well, such as Flash Cannon, Surf, Giga Drain, Shadow Balls, Sludge Wave, etc. So it's a possibility. It's not every week, but it's a possibility. So a Pokemon that I haven't really played with, but looking forward to try it. And if it doesn't work, I'll just trade it away. It's not a problem for me. Next Pokemon, Crobat. Okay, typical fast Pokemon that you don't need to fully invest to do anything good with that. So it's got base 130, so you don't have to max out your speed to outspeed like 85% of the metagame. That's not Scarfed. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's got access to some key moves like Defog. It can actually Roost, which is good recovery for itself, especially when you come in after taking some Stealth Rocks damage and you want to heal yourself. And when you want to Choice Band it, it's still possible. It's got some very good options like Brave Bird. It's got access to X Scissor, stuff like that. So let me just go and check. In terms of power, you got access to Leech Life, extremely good recovery. Instead of X Scissor, that's actually much better. As I said, Brave Bird, Zen Headbutt, Steel Wing, U-Turn, a very good U-Turner. So yeah, there's a lot of moves that can be run on it, and I've seen some specs Crobat do some work with moves like Sludge Bomb, like Air Slash, stuff like that. It's not gonna be something I will run every single week once again, but I've seen some Heat Waves really surprise something like a Scizor, which you don't expect. So yeah, it's a possibility once again. I will try everything in due time. So Crobat, as I said, is fast. I needed a flying type, poison type, sorry, and I think I've got one of the like most look up Pokemon in that tier for poison types. Next one, Whimsicott. Okay, so another one that is actually very annoying to play against. So Whimsicott pretty much forces you to bring another grass type to avoid getting Leech Seed, Toxic, stuff like that. Well, Leech Seed, Protect. It forces you to bring some poison moves to actually knock it out, because if you run it full defensive or full specially defensive, yeah, it's not gonna be too fun. It doesn't have the best stats except for speed, but even then, you don't really need to invest in speed because of Prankster. You can actually run like Toxic Leech Seed Protect with Moonblast, Toxic Leech Seed Protect with, I don't know, another move. Like a very key move, something like, I don't know, you can run Shadow Ball if you don't have any coverage for a Growth type. So it doesn't have to be a Fairy or a Grass move, it's very situational. It has access to Prankster Tailwind, extremely important here. If you know you're like something is setting up in front of you and you're ready to let Whimsicott die. Let's say Mega Gyarados has one Dragon Dance out. I don't even know if someone has Mega Gyarados. I'm just giving the example. You send Whimsicott, even though you know he's probably have something like Ice Fang to knock it out. It's okay. Prankster with Tailwind is gonna allow something a little slower than usual to outspeed your the opponent's Mega Metagross. That's a situation I've seen happen. So it's a key Pokemon that can really change the outcome of a game just by its ability and by its typing, which is very unique, but it's also useful. So Fairy is also immune against Dragon, so that's a good thing. otherwise my team doesn't have a lot of resistances against dragons, so this one actually has an immunity, so that pretty much walls or prevents your opponent from using outrage, which dishes out a lot of damage. Alright, next Pokemon, Alolan Muck. Okay, I don't understand why this one is tier 5, because in the QPBL it was tier 2. Because it only has one weakness, it has access to Stockpile, has access to Rock Polish, has access to so many good moves, it's got access to some coverage, some priority with, I think, Shadow Sneak. I think Alolan Muck has it. I'm just gonna confirm, because I haven't played with it. Yeah, it has access to Shadow Sneak. It can trap you with Mean Look, which is something I've seen happen in the league, because like some players are known to switch out a lot more than others. Then you Mean Look it, he's trapped. It has access to Curse, to basically boost its already very high attack and like give it a lot of defense. It can, in very rare situations, be a memento user. Like if someone is setting up in front of you, you can actually use that. Knockoff is an extremely good move. It's one of the best knockoff users. It's got access to Rock Slide. It's got access to like very annoying moves like Infestation, stuff like that. What else? There's a lot of options you can actually use. It has access to Stone Edge to hit those flying types. Brick Break, Poison Jab, stuff like that. Gong Shot. Yeah, it doesn't have the same coverage that the regular Muck has with like the elemental punches and stuff, but it's still a very good Pokemon. Next one is Sock. I needed a fighting type, and it has access to some very good moves like Knockoff, Earthquake, Stone Edge, Close Combat, and the elemental punches. That was enough for me to give it a try. Sock also has a very high attack at 125 and a decent speed at 85, but if you get some Tailwind going, or if you Scarf it or stuff like that, it can be very fast, so it's not a problem. It isn't the best scout because it has like very average defenses at 75 across the board. So if you try to slow scout or slow switch or something like that, it's maybe not the best idea. It doesn't have access to U-turn or Volt Switch actually, so I thought for a moment it had a U-turn. So yeah, it's not the best idea, but in very key situations it can be a very good Pokemon. Tier 4, it was a risk I was willing to take. So yeah, I pretty much explained what are my favorite moves on that one. But yeah, it has access to Poison Jab also for fairy types. Yeah, that's it. And Bulk Up is actually another good thing. If you actually catch your opponent on a switch, after Bulk Up, Sock becomes a very dangerous offensive force, and it becomes like a lot tougher to bring down with physical hits. So a Pokemon that I really like, and I'm really happy to have on my team. If it doesn't work, I'll just switch it. A Magneton. I needed a Steel type, I needed an Electric type, and I needed something a little bit more bulky. Magneton, that's it. Magneton has very like it's got average. Sorry, just gonna go and check just to confirm. Magneton has average HP. It's got like base 50, but it's got base 95 defense and base 70 special defense. So with an Eviolite, that becomes a very bulky Pokemon, and I can actually run something like a Sturdy set, so even ground type moves won't really won't threaten him. And I've seen something like I've been trying it out, and Entei with a Life Orb with Bulldoze did 80%. That's a quad weak move by a Pokemon that has very high physical attack. So it tells you that it's not a bad Pokemon at all. It's a good slow Volt switcher. because it's got base 70 speed, so if you're not Scarf or if you're not invested, there's also a good ability for that, which is called Analytic. So if you know there's no risk, Analytic will boost your move if you hit second by 30%, I think. So another good ability. So Magnet Pull is also... it's not my favorite ability because... I don't know, it's especially not for Magneton. Maybe it's better for stuff like Magnet Zone, but Magneton doesn't have the punch, the offensive power that Magnet Zone has, so it's maybe not as good, but still, Analytic and Sturdy, very good abilities that I will very certainly use. Last Pokemon, Pyroar. I used that in another league and it worked extremely well. Choice Specs or Choice Scarf, very situational. It's so good. It's got like base 106, 109. I don't remember exactly which one is which, but I will confirm right here. 109 special attack and 106 speed. If your opponent's team is more slow, you run Choice Specs. If your opponent's team is faster, you run Choice Scarf. That's pretty simple. It's got access to the Hyper Voice, which will go through substitutes. Very important. It's got access to Dark Pulse, which will hit Ghost types. Fire Blast, Flamethrower, Overheat, situational. And you can actually, if you... like the opponent has something like a Mega Charizard Y, you can actually benefit from that and use Solar Beam. You can also have some... like, I know it's weird to say, but it's got 68 attack, but it's got Moxie. So if you feel like you don't want to like play around with Rivalry and you don't see any berry on your opponent's team, you can actually run one physical move. Something like Crunch, something like Flame Charge, something like Wild Charge. There's a lot of good physical moves that can be used by Pyroar. There's also Flare Blitz. That can actually, after one Moxie, it becomes like pretty good, and after two Moxies, it becomes very dangerous. There's also Workup, which allows you to boost both your offenses, which is a move that I really like. I like that it's become a TM in Sun and Moon because it gives a second utility or second usability to many Pokemon. So yeah, it's also got Noble Roar, which is a move that can like really stop a sweep or actually slow down a Pokemon that is going to sweep, because it can actually drop the attack and special attack of your opponent Pokemon by one stage. So yeah, that's very good. Yeah, I don't have much to say about this. It's very fast and it hits very hard on the special side, and if you know how to use Moxie and actually place it in for revenge kill, it's dangerous. You can actually use like a guaranteed revenge kill with Moxie and Life Orb, and you run like another few special moves. You get some nice boost and you get some good utility from it. So it's by no means like a defensive Pokemon or anything. It's very offensive. So I will go and explain my type chart. So you see on the screen, I have a major weakness to flying types. I have a -2 differential. So that means if you check, I only have one Pokemon that resists flying types, and it's Magneton. And I have 3 Pokemon that are weak to it, so I know that. There's Sock, there's Whimsicott, and there's Delmise. So I won't bring the 3 of them in the same battle, I already know that. And I have some types that I'm extremely strong against, like grass types. I have a +6 differential. So I have basically no Pokemon that are weak to grass. So that's very easy. Like another one here, +4, I have, I think it's bug type. So fairy types, I have a +3. So I'm very well balanced, but I know where my weaknesses are, and I need to not bring multiple Pokemon that are weak to the same types. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my type chart. For stats, I highlighted in green what is 100 and more. So every Pokemon on my team has at least one stat that is base 100 or plus. So every Pokemon has like one very good strength. Mew has 100 all across the board. Volcanion has base 110 attack, 120 defense, and 130 special attack, with still a very good 90 special defense. So you can actually assault vest that, and it's going to be like very hard to take down. Chansey base 105 special defense and 250 HP. 250 HP is just insane. Whoops, there's a problem here. I highlighted 75s on Gliscor and Delmice. Sorry about that. So Gliscor has base 125 in defense, and Delmice has a base 131 in attack, 100 in defense. I won't go on, but you understand the concept. Every Pokemon has its main strength, and if I'm able to use them as best as I can and maximize this potential, I can actually do some pretty good things. So my average HP is at 94. My average attack is almost 87, almost 85 for defense, 78.8 for special attack, so that's where my weakest stat is, and 84.2 for special defense and 82.9 for speed. So my team is relatively fast. As for types, let me just remove that. So I have every type covered except for ice, bug, rock, and dragon. So I have 2 grass types, 2 normal types, 2 fire types, 2 poison types, 2 flying types, and that's pretty much it. So those are the duplicates I would say I have. So as you see in red, Mew and Gliscor are my dedicated Z users. So now let's compare my stats to the league stats. So Boston, like let's say, has a very slow team, lowest stats, so you can actually see that. Green Bay has the lowest HP average, etc. So what's in orange is the lowest stat of the league, and what's in green is the highest stat. I have the highest HP stat. The average is at 83.3 and I have 94.2. My attack stat is not exactly there with the rest of the league. 94.5, I only have 86.9. But consider in that I have Chansey, which really brings my team average down with a stats of only 5. For defense, Chansey doesn't help as well, but 88.1 and I have 84.7. That's fine. Special attack, same thing for Sock. At base 30, you bring your average down. So I already know that, but it's the case with every team. But some Pokemon are really like lower than low. So yeah, my team really has a need for better special attackers. I know Magneton, Pyroar, Mew, stuff like that can do some great work, and same thing for Volcanion, so I'm pretty comfortable on that, even though my stats maybe aren't the best in the league. Special defense, I'm once again a little lower at 84.2. The league average is almost at 90, so yeah. But there's one good item that's called Assault Vest that really boosts that stat, and I can actually compensate for that little lack of stats. My team is actually pretty fast. I have a 82.9 average. The league average is at 81.5. So, without considering any stats boost, any scarves, any tailwinds, etc., my team is gonna be faster than most of the teams in the league. So for stats total, I'm not really there with the rest of the pile. The league average is at 520.3 and I am at 511.7. But my team, as I said, has the highest average, and stats are one thing, but you actually need to consider the defenses. So my team actually has the most quad resistances and the most immunities in the entire league. That's tied for first, but still only Chicago, which is well, this is an old image, but it actually got replaced. Let me check by whom. It got replaced by the Orlando City Superiors, sorry. So this team has the most immunities tied with me, and Houston. Tots is actually D-pad gamer with the other team, the Victory Bells, the San Antonio Victory Bells. So yeah, yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have many quad weaknesses. I have, well, not many. I have 3, which is like second in league, tied for second in league. But I have many immunities and resistances to compensate that. The immunities I wrote down do not consider Pokemon that have multiple types, such as let's say a Lantern. You have Water Absorb and you have Volt Absorb. I do not consider them to be immunities because the Pokemon isn't guaranteed to have one immunity. So if you like play around with your sets, you might lose that immunity. So it might be affected a little bit, but yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with how many immunities and quad resistances I have. And I know that from one Pokemon to the other, something like, let's say Gliscor, it's very weak to ice and it's weak to water. I can switch out to Volcanion, which is quad resistant to ice and will absorb water and be immune to it with Water Absorb. So yeah, my Pokemon really help one each other and have a good synergy. Yeah, I don't have many quad weakness. I have a lot of quad resistances, and I also have a lot of like single resistances. With 39, the league average at 40, but some teams really don't have much, and some really have a lot. And those who have the most also have the most weaknesses. So you see Winnipeg Blue Blastoise here, the last team in the list, has no quad weaknesses and has the most resistances. So that's very good. But he's got the most weaknesses, the most single weaknesses, and he has the least quad resistances. So it balances out in the end. So like, you know, there's a lot of things that really are to be considered when you do that analysis, but I'm very comfortable with the situation I'm in. I'm at plus 25 and league average is at plus 19. So the plus 25 is combined resistances, no matter what the multiplier is, minus weaknesses. That's it. And I think I'm like very high in the league compared to some other teams. I think I'm like second. Yeah, Houston is at plus 29 and I'm at plus 25. That's good. In terms of league typings, Boston is the only team that has at least one Pokemon of each type. So that was very good drafting on his part, even though it you saw earlier in the video it gave a very slow team, but still he has every single type to play with, so that's good. Dallas has 5 types missing, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 5 types missing. So yeah, Dallas maybe was going for more of its favorites. That's a way to do it. I don't think Dallas is the worst team in the league by any means, because he probably went with some Pokemon he's more comfortable with. So that's good as well. Ice and Rock types. 5 teams did not take any of them. So ice types, I don't know. It's a proof that it's a very underappreciated typing in terms of like matchup selections. And rock types, it's not the best offensively. And multiple Pokemon that have like Stealth Rocks are not even rock types, so you don't really need that. And it's got a lot of weaknesses. I think it's got like 5 or 6 weaknesses. So rock types are not the best to play with the league format. Ghost and bug types, same thing. Bug type isn't the best typing one-on-one with in the league format. And ghost types are well have a lot of like downs that are really not appreciated. Like there's a lot of knockoff game in the, well, a lot of Pokemon will bring knockoff in this league, and Ghost is pretty much a big bait for knockoffs. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And also bugs are weak to Stealth Rocks, which is very centralizing in the game. So yeah, there's some explanation like where you can actually see Why, okay, they're like every team pretty much has a water type, every team has an electric type, but some teams don't have like an ice or a bug type. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So that is the complete analysis of the league. I have a very good team in my opinion. I'm comfortable with what I have to deal with. There are some Pokemon that maybe I drafted with a little bit of hesitation. Sock is one of them. I can actually confirm that Delmise is not a Pokemon that I'm 100% comfortable with, but the league format is a great opportunity to try some new stuff and try to learn some secret movesets, or not secret movesets, but actually some hidden movesets and good strategies and how to match up your Pokemon, knowing that you like the opponent already knows what you might have, but what can you do to actually overcome this this element and bring your team to win. So that's very interesting, and I've got some very good options. I'm looking forward to see what I can do with that. So thank you guys very much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, subscribe, follow me on Twitter and on Twitch. There's going to be a link for the APA YouTube list in the description of this video and on my YouTube channel front page. So thank you guys very much for coming, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace!